All right, go,
We're
Toe.
going? Okay, let me put down my rainbow nut butter and then I better read the sponsors. Sponsors, before we start the show, like we always do, Hawk Wings out of Jackson, Minnesota. Put a wing on anything you want to put it on, I think, that races. Rapid Graphics in Rock Rapids. Get your cars lettered, get signs made. Mount Tabor Cabinetry out in central Pennsylvania with Chris Fissel. If you're out in that area and you want to remodel, Morning Sun Marketplace with Rick and Sue Fritz. They run the place. Huge flea market, I think every weekend out there. Give it a look. My Race Pass, if you're into racing, you got to have My Race Pass. S2F, or Start to Finish, another streaming service that we follow. Power Eye, Port City, several other tracks and lots of racing. Houston Speedway, our track right up the road here a little ways. Big weekend with the Bull Haulers Brawl, the Fulkins Brothers Bull Haulers Brawl this weekend. And then the Outlaws on Saturday and Sunday. Turn 2 Lodge down at Knoxville. Not a lot of races left to go to. Late models, all you got left in Knoxville, but you can look it up. Turn 2 Lodge, give you a place to stay. Kaiser Aluminum Wheels. Oh, where'd my little note go? I stole their thing, bud. I'm hiding it. I lost it. Be Wiser by Kaiser. There you go. Fulkins Brothers Trucking for all they do. And like we said, they got their Bull Haulers Brawl this Friday. Heartland Hardware and Appliance out of Brandon, South Dakota, George, Iowa, and Hayward, Iowa. Hero Haven for all they do for the vets and the first responders. And last but not least is Snow and Shane with Bench Racing, Lumber Lounge and Garage, whatever all else there. Probably, I think they're probably live now too. So look them up sometime. They got some great shows.
All right,
back to you, bud.
Hey, we're back at Hoagie's Garage, and we have Paul Nienhiser.
Nienhiser.
God dang it. He just so everybody knows, he just told us this literally 10 seconds ago.
Oh, I talked longer than that, but it's over a minute ago. Give us a little credit.
You got shit on your mouth from eating peanut butter.
I don't care.
All right. So how you doing tonight, Paul?
I'm doing all right. Like I told you guys a little bit ago, I just went through the bedtime routine as you can expect with a 2- and 4-year-old daughters, and been at the Farm Progress show today, walking around with my wife and dad, checking out, all the cutting edge innovation that you could expect with that. It's kind of like racing. The technology just seems to keep taking off, and every single year is it's just kind of mind blowing what's out there. So we don't go every year. It's actually in Decatur every, on a 2-year cycle, and actually in Boone, Iowa, I think next year for a couple years, and comes back. So for me, it's only about an hour and a half or a little less to go over there and spend the day over there and check things out. And perfect weather too. Normally it's really hot, but we were in mid-70s today, and just about as perfect as you could dial it up. So dial it up enough too.
Where is home? Where do you call home?
So I reside born and raised in Chapin, so it's basically a town of 600 you should have never heard of, west of Jacksonville Speedway though, which a lot of people do kind of know where that's at, especially in the last few years with some of the outlaw shows that have been really exciting there, and just the weekly racing program they put on, as far as an exciting little bull ring, and get some pretty big attention for a little bitty fairgrounds racetrack, but it's unique and different than any one you'll ever go to in its own way. So that's about 10 minutes from my doorstep. So actually for a couple years I lived about a street over from there in Jacksonville. My wife and I, our first house was there. So it's like I said, kind of middle of nowhere. If you compare it to the center part of the state, we're west of Springfield, about 45 minutes or so, basically between Springfield and the Mississippi River. It's kind of middle of nowhere, but like I said, we're kind of centralized whenever you want to go racing or go watch somewhere. I mean, majority of places we can do a lot of racing within 4.5 hours.
Yeah. Well, you say 600. We're 250 people right here.
Okay.
So
I'm actually closer technically to a village of 250. So I'm there.
There you go.
Yeah. Technically, my address is Chapin. So.
Yeah.
Snow must not be live yet. He just said hi.
Oh, absolutely.
So. Hi, Snow.
How did you get started into racing? Has racing been something in the family all along, and what age were you when you got started?
Sure. So actually, probably a different path than most. My dad was kind of into cars and a mechanic actually by trade originally. We farmed. I'm actually a sixth generation farmer myself. So it's been in our family, but when my dad got out of college, there wasn't room for him, so he went to junior college to learn, automotive mechanics and stuff, and had a little shop. So that was kind of something always, I guess, in his niche, but race cars, not so much. He did a little bit of straight line drag racing with D28 Camaro back in the late 60s, early 70s. So there's nothing really related to straight line racing and dirt track racing or anything on an oval in general. And back then was a lot more crude than it is today. So I guess to sum it up, I have a friend actually from Chapin also, and his dad is actually one of my big sponsors yet today, Team K Tree Service, you see on the car. And his name is Blake. He had a quarter midget, and our little village celebration, happens once a year. Like I said, this is a little bitty thing, little shindig, so you can imagine what it's like. But
we have one every year.
So he had his little quarter midget there. I would have been probably 5 at the time, and he's been racing quarter midgets for a couple years. And there's a pretty good little circuit around here: Taylorville, Greenville. At the time, there's a track kind of close to St. Louis, Bunker Hill. Of course, guys go to Terre Haute, Kokomo. But anyway, he had his race car. It was the neatest thing ever to a 5-year-old kid. And of course, I wouldn't leave my dad alone about it. And his dad actually let us go test the car in one of the elementary schools in Jacksonville. Has a pretty nice paved parking lot in the back. We set up cones, and I made a few laps back there, and that's kind of where they practice. Because, with a kid, you're more or less teaching them to make consistent circles before you start working on actual racecraft and stuff like that. So I got some laps in a school parking lot in his car. That was just, about sent us over the moon, and we decided to go watch, should say us, probably me more than anybody, probably like watching T-ball. But we went to a regional race in Taylorville, which is, like I said, kind of one of the bigger tracks around here. Of course, to watch Blake is his name race, and won the 50-50 that day. I've pretty much been hooked ever since. That 50-50 went towards my first race car, and so
at least somebody wins
now. Yeah, so I had a couple hand-me-downs from Mario Clouds. I don't know if you guys heard the name. Him and 2 of his brothers, there was 3 of them, and they're from Auburn, not too far from here either. And they were kind of on like a factory team deal, and with Nervo chassis, Bob Nervo stuff, and I kind of had some hand-me-down cars from them. Actually, I don't know that I ever had a new one in the quarter midget days, and just kind of knew nothing, kind of just surrounded ourselves with people that would be willing to talk. I mean, I had a lot of guys I raced against that dads were sprint car drivers or, had family history, and just the chassis dynamics and, what makes a race car go fast in a circle was seriously just all foreign to us, and I really wasn't any good at it for a while. Towards the end, kind of got just better as far as a driver, and I think, at the time my dad was kind of learning more about the cars and how to help me go fast, and it was fun. It wasn't a lot of fun. Like I said, I wasn't really very good at it. We didn't have great results. And, the politics of just, you have judges, a kid runs in the back of somebody. It's up to the 2 or 3 judges up on the stand to say whose fault it was and who goes to the back. And that kind of got old pretty quick. So I spent about 3 years in quarter midgets. And it was short-lived, but definitely kind of like the gateway to, how things snowballed into what it can turn into. So I hope my girls never ask me to run a quarter midget, because we'll probably be talking like we are today.
So then what'd you do?
Yeah, so like I said, got kind of burnt out on the quarter midget stuff pretty quick. I mean, I had some success, but it was nothing like anything to be super proud of. And then I guess I would have been probably 8 years old, and we were at a regional race one day, and I was leading the points or something in the region 5 or whatever we're in, and I got some bullcrap judgment call that basically ruined my championship on one of the last nights or 2, and my dad had somebody there wanting to buy everything, sold it all right there at the racetrack. He left mad, and had a racetrack that's also no longer here, but Pike County Raceway at the time hosted the biggest mini sprint, like 600cc race in the country. I forget what that race was called, but that's actually 40 minutes from here. And they had, I don't know if it's as common now, but there was like the restricted class, stock class, and outlaw where you could, bore out your motors and stuff. So I went from the quarter midget deal, and then I was turning 9, which was like the minimum age for running the restricted class. And it was kind of popular, I guess, at Pike County. And so like myself, Stephen Russell, which would be Jerry Russell's son, he built the Eagle chassis from the early 2000s, and then he sold it, builds the JR1s now. So Stephen, myself, Jake Newman, they're from New Berlin, I'm trying to think of a few others maybe that would ring bells to you guys. Jordan Goldsberry was always Zach Dom. A few names, like there's some of us that have just continued on since then, but we all kind of ended up over at Pike County. We're all kind of central Illinois guys anyway. And actually the best probably blessing that ever happened to me was I got my feet wet, won a couple championships at the track there in the couple lower divisions, and the landscape of just weekly racing, I'm guessing, again, I was more of a kid here, I'm talking 11 years old probably. The landscape of weekly racing was really starting to change. So Power Eye, the series you probably heard of today that runs national midgets and actually micros at the time, had really started to take at least micro racing to a new level. So it's kind of like the World of Outlaws at the time. It was still pretty central U.S., more of a central U.S. tour. Like we didn't go to the coast by any means. But best thing that ever happened was Pike County. I don't know if they just run out of equipment, basically closed down. I don't know if they run out of money or what. Doesn't matter. But the long story short was that forced us to either pretty much quit racing because it was a local track I went to every Saturday night, or go run Power Eye. So Jake Newman and myself were actually a little bit under the age limit, and Kenny Brown, the promoter, CEO of Power Eye, whatever you want to call it, actually let us come race at Macon Speedway, little bull ring, actually over by Decatur where I was today. And we ran a Power Eye race there just to kind of prove we could do it, even though we weren't quite old enough by their rules or insurance. I'm not really sure how it worked. And yeah, like I said, this was a deal where every Friday, Saturday, there would be 40, 50 micros. And it seriously was some of the best there was. It was pretty tough competition. It was humbling, but forced us to learn. So I was about 11, and that was, like I said, a learning experience. It was probably early in the summer, when I started doing that, but we started having to go to new racetracks, makes you adapt, learn your equipment, learn shocks, do all kinds of different things to be competitive, and you're around, better equipment, and you surround yourself with better people. It just naturally makes you better. So that's kind of what we did. When I was 12, actually, probably, I really don't remember that year. I know I didn't really do any great things, but when I was 13, of course, we're still running this Power Eye Outlaw series, and actually became the youngest winner in history. We put one of the first Engler injections on a mini sprint, so they're on sprint cars like Kinsler is today. But Tim had actually developed the mechanical fuel injection that was brand new to mini sprints, and I had one of the first one or two. We actually went and dynoed and went and won that race at Belleville. It was kind of at Little Belleville. And so that kind of put myself on the map, put the Engler mechanical fuel injection on the map. Of course, I was a young kid, and I was racing full-blown adults then. It wasn't so much kids like even the midgets and stuff are today. So it was kind of a shock, I guess, to some people. And, of course, that started selling a lot of injections for Tim. And 2 weeks later, I won my second one. So that was pretty neat to be able to do at a young age. It was nothing I ever expected. I don't know, like the stars started to line up, and I just kind of learned to drive, and just kind of, I feel like that's the moment things started to click for me as a race car driver. And then we really just kind of held course for a couple of years. I was 15, and we were having trouble with Yamaha motors we were running at the time, just weren't staying together. We were getting every last ounce of horsepower out of them. I think just, they weren't, they were 600 inches. They just weren't built for what we were doing with them at the time. I don't know how things are today, but it started getting pretty expensive, actually, just keeping motors together. And we started looking just kind of jokingly at first at maybe just go sprint car racing, because the Monster Energy at the time was the sponsor of the MOA series, which is in my backyard here, which is pretty much what I've done a lot of the last 10 years. And Tim Engler, again, had his last sprint car that had Pennzoil World of Outlaws. That was like kind of his last run back in his horse barn behind their shop there. And he's like, yo, before you go buy some race car or whatever, you need to come get my old car. So we go back there, knock the dust off his J&J that was sitting in the horse barn. It was a pretty old car. It was probably a 2004 or 3. I don't know what year the car was. But we rolled that thing out, pretty much knowing nothing. Again, the type of mini sprint I ran was a coil car. It didn't have like 4 torsion bars like most sprint cars are today. So again, I really sucked. I kind of went from being pretty competitive anytime we unloaded at a micro track to getting my ass kicked in a sprint car, and kind of took the fun out of it, I won't lie. We struggled. We kind of just tried about everybody's base setup, a different guy every week, trying to find something that worked. And I don't know if it was a combination of the shock package or just the car itself being a little dated. I really don't think I've ever made a J&J go well, and that's not a knock to them because Donnie Schatz does, but
Yeah.
I really struggled. So kind of got my half season in there, I guess, when I was 15 in a sprint car. And then over that winter, got hooked up with Dan Musselman and the guys over at Maxim. Chuck was actually still involved over there too, Chuck Merrill, and built a brand new Big Max chassis there. And kind of at that point, rather than having a roller I bought and knew nothing about, built that car from the ground up. Then I bought another used car, basically had 2 cars ready to go. I ran a full season with the MOA series, and I ran a full season. Actually didn't have to miss a race in either one. It was 40-something races with the Sprint Invaders, which is like a 360 series over in Iowa.
Yep.
And actually finished third in both the points. I got my first 410 win that actually summer, and my first race that following year when I was 16, I actually won my first race in a sprint car that year. It was like the end of March. So I won a Sprint Invader race when I was 16. Backed that up later that summer, won again, won a 410 show. And then really kind of things just started taking off. Things started clicking a little bit better. Had some fast cars. Never really, again, any monumental things happened until about 2017, maybe 16. I can't really recall. The All-Stars made their first swing back through Illinois in, however many years that was. And I kind of had a deal with a local distributor with Cam2 Oil. And so I had not really had any major sponsorship at the time, and had been running the Cam2 colors, and it just so happened that All-Star swing that came through here. This is kind of before Dirt Vision and all that was accessible to everybody and flow. And the All-Stars ran through here. Tony Stewart was running that weekend. There was kind of a lot of eyeballs for whatever reason over here. And I ran actually runner-up to Carson Macedo when he won his first All-Star show at Lincoln. Started 10th, run second. Then the very next night, I should have been smarter with my lane choice, but Justin Peck got his first All-Star win at Macon. I run second. Actually passed him, and the yellow came out. And then ran 5th the third night at 34 race wins. So I got 3 top 5s that weekend. The Cam2 execs, I guess, kind of had some stuff sent to them, like wondering who the guy was with that Cam2 on a race car they hadn't seen since the Indy 500, in the 90s. And so I got a call from the CEO at the time, Jack Baker. I was in the shower getting ready to go race one day, and had a strange phone number, just about didn't answer it. And I did, and he said, "Hey," he said, "Paul," and I'm like, "Yeah," he said, "Hey, this is Jack Baker, CEO of Cam2. I go, "Oh shit."
Hold on, let me dry off here a minute.
Yeah, so I was almost late to hot laps because I spent, standing there naked in my bathroom talking to Jack Baker, and pretty much just got my foot in the door with them, and have met so many great people since then. Actually come up to Sioux Falls when it was rebranded there for a year as Badlands, and met some really cool people just again by luck from one of my crew guys, shagging a beer off somebody's cooler, and introduced me to Lanny and Tammy Oranger from, like I said, up in Sioux Falls, and so they actually kind of became second family and sponsors, and been big supporters of myself. And then I've got so many people that have sponsored me from pretty much my first mini sprint, at least, that are still on my car today. Like I said, had some pretty incredible corporate help that shouldn't happen to a farm kid in the middle of nowhere, that just by luck, honestly. And that's really just kind of got me to where I am today. And just about 4 years ago or so, I brought Scott Bonar on as my crew chief on my own car. And he owned the 50 car I drive out of Iowa that's had the Daru 50 from back in the day. I mean, everybody that was somebody drove that car. And started driving that part-time, I guess, probably around 17 too. And so we kind of combined both of our programs, where anywhere I go, either driving my car or Scott's car, he's the wrench on it. It's been a really good pairing. I would compare it sort of to lightning in a bottle around here. At least I feel like anywhere we go, we're competitive. Even, when a traveling series comes in here, you can at least have to beat us too before you can win that race. And I'm pretty proud of what we built. So it's been an interesting, probably non-traditional path to most. Was never like just a self-funded thing where I went in and bought rides and just got good equipment to learn. It's been, again, like I said, there was years that were struggles and embarrassing, but just had incredibly smart and the right people all timed and, made their way in here at the right time, and we're still going. And like I said, I'm really proud of the program we built. I don't have 5 race cars and 6 410 motors and all kinds of money to just go crash if I want to, but I feel like I have 1 or 2 really good race cars, and I've got 1 motor. But that's all it takes, as long as it's all working right, and that's what we do. So try to present ourselves well, represent our sponsors and partners and friends, everybody that's on the car well, and you know the fans around here, we love them, and just try to make everybody proud. My biggest goal anymore, I don't really have, you know, a target, I guess, outside of winning a national touring race or something. It's just the people that we connect with and the kids and just what it means to people in general. I think that's the unique part of like what we get to do with our platform, and it's really rewarding. So that's kind of the short, long version of how I got to where I am today with a broken back.
Okay. Before we go into any of that, had a suggested question here from Mr.
Okay.
Giddings. Supposed to ask about your four-wheeler at Lucas Oil for the Hocket.
Oh boy, that's right. Forrest probably heard about that. I saw he just passed away, so thoughts to the whole Lucas family on that. But yeah, it was a funny deal. I don't know if you guys have ever been out to the Hocket race there at Lucas Oil. It's kind of a party after the last checkered flag drops for the night, I guess, and it's just shut for 3 days. So I had a couple of buddies. I won't even name names, but they'd all probably get in trouble if I did. But I went to bed a little early. I turned in early one night, and my four-wheeler I left out just to kind of, you know, buggy myself around the pits to have some beers with some friends and, you know, be able to drive right back up to my rig. And I left it outside because I had my car put away. And these guys, I don't know if they saw the sun come up or what, but they ended up thinking it would be hilarious to carry my four-wheeler off and hide it. And my four-wheeler, the next morning, I mean, it was gone. And I looked everywhere that you would think to look. And finally, I went into my buddy's toter, and I'm like, yo, like, this isn't really even funny. Like, I just need to know where it's at. He said, it's on top of the grandstands from, like, face down on the floor, right? I'm like, wait a second, what'd you say? He's like, on top of the grandstands. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I go up the stairs over in turn 2 or whatever it was, where they have a big deck where the crew guys can walk up and not sit in the bleachers. I'll be damned if I walked up there and my four-wheeler is sitting on top of the bleachers. So I get on the damn thing, and I start riding it down the stairs, you know, kerplunk, kerplunk, kerplunk. When I get to the bottom, one of the security guys or whatever, of course, sees it. They weren't too thrilled about me riding down there nice aluminum stairs on my four-wheeler, just plunking every single way down. And I don't know, they looked at the security cameras to find out who did it and all that stuff. A couple of us, not myself, because I really wasn't in the wrong, thankfully, but got kicked out for the whole thing. And it was pretty dang funny, but at the time, I guess, you know, it wasn't. It sure was that night, I'm sure. I mean, the next day, the players were leaving. They weren't thrilled, but. So then that four-wheeler, actually, that I still have, it's wrapped in white now, but it's kind of famous for being put in weird spots. So that was the first time and hasn't been the last. But it's not a running joke. I really don't want to get rid of that thing. It's got a lot of stories.
You're gonna have to start cabling that thing to something.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, definitely.
So they didn't have the key, so they carried it up there.
Exactly. Yeah. So I pulled the key out, so no one would steal it. So they just took that little 80 or 90 cc or whatever. Yeah, they just 3 or 4 of them just picked it up and started walking.
Jesus, that's hilarious.
Friends.
Yeah.
Oh,
That makes for a great story, though.
Yeah.
Thanks,
I got some
Snow.
good friends.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other funny part of this is he got into racing because he won a 50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's just as luck would have it, or you know, as fate would have it. Some things just, I guess, meant to fall into, and this is one of them.
That's
And
awesome.
I bought 50-50 tickets all weekend, didn't win a thing again.
That's-
And at Grand Forks,
yeah.
$20 they give you your height. So you hold the ticket at the top of your head and they run her to the ground. Well, I'm 6'2", so I had a lot of tickets. I still didn't win nothing.
Yeah.
We weren't even
Like
close.
I said, I don't think, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I haven't like won any kind of drawing since. I guess that was a good one or bad, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
I'll stop here 20-something years later.
That's my goal before I get done going to races. I want to win a 50-50 sometime.
Yeah.
Now to win one of those at a crown jewel, sometimes it seems like the 50-50 pays more than the race does to win. They're like,
Well, I want to say I don't remember what Grand Forks was, but I thought Fargo was right at $6,000,
Jeez.
Wow.
and I thought so that would have been
I want to say Eldora was over 100.
yeah. Eldora gets huge for
Yeah.
the Kings Royal.
If you live in Ohio, you can call in or you can go online
and buy
do it.
tickets
So
and-
it's, yeah, that's nuts. But so, and if I'm wrong here, this is really gonna look bad. But your car is number 9, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
Oh, look
How-
at you go, bud.
And that's my favorite number, of course. But how did you come up with that number? Is there any stories behind that?
Oh, just kind of a fanboy story mainly. My wife makes fun of me. So I was, I guess originally, like I said, I was kind of like a motorsport fan. Just my dad was into cars. My first quarter midget was number 88. Dale Jarrett was a UPS, NASCAR at the time. And then I met Tony Stewart at somewhere. Maybe I was just a fan. I can't remember. So I was number 20 in my first micro. And then actually later that year, a family I raced with, her parents actually helped Sammy Swindell at the Chili Bowl, and I really couldn't tell you how or why. Their last name's long. Anyway, my dad and I were racing at the expo, but like when they had the Chili Bowl going on, it's obviously like the fairgrounds there too. And there was a couple of horse barns that had a pretty big quarter midget race in the same time. I don't think they still do it, but my mom and I were in the camper, and he went over to the racetrack, on probably Wednesday or Thursday, and he thought, man, this is like the coolest thing he'd ever seen in that building. We weren't even familiar with midgets or sprint cars. Like I said, we just did this all like in the moment, so I really never knew what was next. But my dad the next day is like, hey, we need to go get some tickets off the sidewalk like I did last night. We need to go watch that. So I go in there with my dad, and of course we're walking through the pits, and they had like Tony Stewart, Sammy, all the dudes that were dudes. This would have been like 2005 Chili Bowl, because like Casey Kane had just finished his rookie year with NASCAR. He was kind of like the new dude that got all the chicks and had the cool car and all that stuff. So our friends that were helping Sammy were actually pitted right next to Casey, and of course they had the whole thing taped off, and it's 50 people deep at his trailer. And I don't know, my dad said something like, hey, we want to meet him or whatever. And Samantha Long's mom, she came up and she's like, here, I'll take you in there. I'm like, all right. So they lifted the tape up, and all these people are just staring at my dad and I, a couple of, like I said, hillbillies from Illinois, and we just walked right up in there, and I got to meet Casey, and of course he had a bunch of good-looking women in there, and I just thought he was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and he was number 9, and that one stuck. So
there you go.
Yeah. So once I got into running like outlaw races and stuff, of course he had his own team on there, the 9 team. So I would always have to like tape an X or something on my car to run an outlaw show, and then we just kind of stuck with 9X since then. But basically the root of it was just meeting Casey Kane when he was at his peak, Dodge deal and stuff. It was really neat.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Love a good story like that.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah, we actually recreated one of my last Chili Bowls I ran. Me and Casey recreated the picture. It's out there somewhere. But it's basically the same position and stuff we ran in 05, and it was like 2020 probably, or 19, 20 years later or whatever. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah, that is cool. I think there's probably a lot of people that want to know how you're doing right now. But if you don't mind, maybe just give us a rundown of the accident and some of the things that you've all had, been involved with, because we know you were in a lot of pain when it happened. So whatever you're willing or wanting to share would be great.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's been a humbling experience, like I told you guys. I was leading the Sprint Invader feature. I don't know what round it was. I was kind of trying to run for points this year. We were in Benton, Iowa at the Benton County Speedway. A little boring out there. We'd won 2 in a row. There was about 5 or 6 laps to go. Like I said, we were leading. I'm actually tied for the all-time wins record with the Sprint Invaders, and that would have broken it. But anyway, coming around turn 3 and 4 with 5 or 6 laps to go, for whatever reason, had a part failure, and the right front hub broke on the axle, and the tire went flying, and just kind of sent me into a little tumble. I mean, it was not gentle by any means, but sadly I can sit here and say I've had much worse also. Yeah. And walked away from it, but the rear shocks were broken. It actually didn't break the rear arms either, which is weird, but it came down that last little, I basically stood it up on the nose and then just sat, free fell basically to the rear tires. Yep. The chassis dug in the ground. Instantly, snap of a finger, I knew I was in trouble. I've actually never officially broken anything, but I couldn't really breathe. Shit hurt really bad in my back. I kind of was just I didn't think I broke my back at first. I don't know what I thought, but I was kind of starting to feel claustrophobic, couldn't get a breath, felt like I got the wind knocked out of me. Actually pulled myself out of the car, couldn't stand up, and basically went straight down. Then the long story was I got transported, all the backboarding and crap to a local hospital there in Benton. They didn't do any surgery, but they actually, did some imagery. Basically decided I was going to need to go to the University of Iowa in Iowa City. So a level 1 trauma unit for neck and spinal injuries, which I guess was probably a good place to be, pretty close to at the time. Went there, had several different imaging done. We waited for the swelling to go down, and I had compression fractures in 3 vertebrae, which, again, I've got no experience here, but they tell me is the most painful kind of back break you can have. I had it in 3 vertebrae, but the good, bad part of my situation was with no cord damage, it could heal naturally on its own, the situation, and everything's right, which at the time mine was, so I think I would have had less pain and a quicker recovery if I'd have had surgery, but we elected to stay away from surgery.
Yeah.
So I've been in a back brace basically all summer. I just got out of it actually a month earlier than expected, what they originally kind of thought with how my x-rays and MRIs and stuff looked, about 10 days ago. So I got out of this brace that had been wrapped around my neck and down my back, and had a plate basically across the front and the back, and had been sleeping in a chair, basically not worth a shit since July 6th, I guess, and I'm feeling a little bit better. Like, when I get up for the day, I'm in pretty good shape. It's got something to do with the compressed area between the vertebrae, not so much the bone breaks themselves anymore, but the compression that's happened. There's like less space between my vertebrae, so when I relax at night or like try to sleep, I'm really not getting any to speak of. I mean, I just wake up in pain and it's hard to move, and like I said, I get in the hot tub in the middle of the night or something, and once I get stretched out and moving and walking, though, I really don't feel much different than I did. Obviously, I'm on like weight restrictions right now, since things aren't fully healed. The fractures themselves have healed well enough that I didn't need to have a brace anymore, but it's basically, they're still doing what they got to do, so I can't get crazy with any lifting or anything yet. I started some light therapy. I'll be honest, I don't really notice a difference in any of that yet, but hopefully, staying the course and just letting time do its thing will be hopefully maybe not quite as good as new, but close to it.
So they're the people that are smarter than me and Bud are expecting that pain to go away then after everything is fully healed. To a certain.
What I've been told is that's probably not entirely the case, but as far as like my bones, they shouldn't be any more. What am I trying to say? Like any more prone to a break than they originally would.
Sure.
What's going to be probably more the issue is just the space between the bones themselves is shrunk, and that's probably going to always be like easier to irritate. And I don't think that that's probably going to go back. At least that's the way I understand it. But I'm just hoping that maybe the muscles or whatever is relaxing at night. If I could just get some sleep and then get back to like regular weight duty type stuff, I think that's a pretty good spot to be in when you have something like I had happen. So I'm thankful. It was pretty tough at first to not be pretty bitter, but it could have been a lot worse. And then that actually was kind of like the first injury I'd really heard of this year. And then you had Caleb Henry at Attica like a week or so later, and then all the crap at Eldora, and guys have been breaking feet and backs and necks ever since. So I started something there, but it's been a rough summer.
It's been a horrible summer.
A lot of really good people reach out. There's been people sending cards, just sending a little check here or there, just hoping to help out. The Steve King Foundation has been awesome. They reached out to me, did a little fundraiser. They're raising money for some of our bills we're going to have, and I'm thankful I didn't have surgery, so it could have been a lot worse, but all the imagery and being admitted for a few days in Iowa, ambulance rides, like none of it's going to be very cheap. So we're kind of bracing ourselves, but like I said, we've just been blessed with just incredible people, and it really does show, what the racing community and the fan base and just of sprint car racing in general. I mean, there's been people that I really didn't think cared for me a whole lot, even send a card or whatever, and it just, it means a lot. So had a good support group here at home. It's been, my wife's a nurse, so she took some unpaid leave from work to take care of me. We got a couple little girls, so when you got a 2-year-old you can't pick up, makes things difficult, but we're getting through it. She's actually reminded me today her last night home is tomorrow, and then she's back to work. She's a night shift labor and delivery nurse, so I had a good nurse at home, and she kind of does that for a living, but we're okay. If I can just start getting some sleep, I'll probably be a lot less grumpy.
Yeah, it's got to be hard, like you said, to not pick up the 2-year-old too, because she's not understanding it either right away. Why Daddy won't pick me up? I can't even imagine how hard that part's got to be.
Well, I tell you, the guiltiest moment I've had as a parent yet, which being a parent has been the coolest experience ever, as most of everyone knows. But when I was laid up in Iowa City or Benton, one of the two, I forget what day it was, but was my oldest daughter's 4th actual birthday. So I missed her birthday, all drugged up in the hospital, wasn't here. That my wife and kids thankfully weren't at the race that night, but I wasn't home, so I missed that. And then, I suppose this is just a little bit more on the mushy side, but your kids one day are, they're not going to ask you to pick them up again.
No.
You don't really ever know when that is, but I'm losing at least 3 or 4 months here. So
yeah.
That's something I'll never get back, but I guess, like I said, if it was meant to be, it is what it is. Thankful to be walking, thankful it wasn't worse.
The positive side is it sounds like you're going to be able to pick them up again, versus not ever being able to do it again. So.
Yeah. I mean, it could be so much worse. So I'm thankful.
So, do you know of Brandon Hanks?
Yeah, he's actually a buddy of mine. Yeah.
Okay, well, he says I think he's just trying to get out of working in the heat at the powder coating shop, is what he says.
Yeah, I did miss some pretty hot weeks. I do own a partnership in a powder coating shop in Jacksonville. So my business partner, again, is just great people surround me. But he definitely picked up my slack here in the last 7 or 8 weeks and kept things going up there. And we've had some people pitch in to help clean some grain bins out and stuff. Like I said, we farm also, so had some grain and bins I needed to get cleaned out and scooped out, and just a lot of people step up. Really, people just surprise you how great humanity can be. I don't know if you spend much time on the internet, you probably think the opposite, but there's some really great people out there, and I'm thankful.
Yeah. The good ones show up in times like this.
Absolutely.
A little bit of a side note. So you're healing up, you're going places, you're feeling good every day. Harvest is coming. Can you run the grain cart or the combine or anything? Is that something they're going to allow you to do then, or?
Yeah. So originally the answer was no, but since those last X-rays when I got the brace off early, basically been turned loose when it comes to driving equipment and trucks and stuff like that. So I just got to be mindful mainly of like the weight right now. That's really most of it. Which there's not much of that when you're driving. So I got the neck brace off. I can look left and right and all that stuff that would have been proved difficult. So I feel like I got out of jail a little bit when I got that thing off.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like to me maybe his wife needs a little bit more credit being a nurse. I mean, cripes. She's the one been taking care of him, and he's a month ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she says I owe her a vacation now after this when we're all done.
I can believe that.
She was probably about to lose her mind even more than I was.
Yeah.
Because men typically don't make good patients.
No. I tried to be. One of the doctors I had followed up when I got home from Iowa City. I had a follow up at like a orthopedic center here in Illinois, and she told me, she's like, look, like, you get one chance to heal a broken back the right way, naturally. And she said, if it doesn't feel properly, she said, we're talking a fusion, nuts and bolts. She's like, trust me, do this the right way or you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. And whatever reason, that kind of struck a nerve. That was 7 days or something after I got home. And I'm like, you know what? I'm 28 years old. I'd probably like to give it my best shot here. And so I really did. I was pretty religious about it. And hopefully that pays dividends in the long run.
Yeah, well, get yourself healed up because, like I said, you got a 4-year-old, so T-ball ain't too far away with her. And
yeah, I'm told it's next year, so we're getting ready to get real busy.
You mentioned King Foundation or something. Can you explain a little bit what that is?
Yeah, it's been founded in memory of Steve King. He was killed in a crash at Knoxville. Actually, believe it or not, the first Knoxville Nationals I went to would have been '06 when I think his accident happened a couple days before we got there. He was killed in an accident. His family started the foundation in his memory to help families and racers and actually I think officials and really anyone across the motorsports kind of community whenever something unexpected happens to help with basically financial side of it. And they offer help to a lot of guys. I've seen basically everybody that's been hurt this year have some kind of funding through Steve King Foundation or they'll be raising funds for those drivers. And it takes a lot of the burden off people when something unexpected happens, which they experienced and lost him. And like I said, that's the absolute worst, but they've, I guess, made the most of a crappy situation and have definitely changed a lot of lives for the work they do. So I'm grateful to them. I know they've helped guys like Terry McCarl, Jamie Ball. A lot of guys have had, some pretty serious accidents and have had, lots of help and a great experience with just those people stepping in. I think it's a pretty small group of people that does what they do. I know they do fundraisers at like the Knoxville Nationals and stuff just to raise money for the foundation. And then, like I said, when guys get hurt, they'll run fundraisers for like even individuals too. So it helps. Grateful for people like that. And like I said, even people you just wouldn't expect to get a card from, and some sponsors have still just said, hey, I know had a deal for the year, but just because you got hurt doesn't change, what we want to do for you. And like I said, I'm very blessed to have so many great people around, and I think it's I'm lucky. Hopefully everyone gets that chance if something was to happen to them.
Yeah. Are you still selling shirts? And is there, besides sending a card, is there any other way that people could help out money-wise with you?
Yeah, like I said, we actually did a little bit of a fundraiser with the shirts. We had some stock, and then we did some stuff that was out of stock that we ordered. We're actually having a little bit of trouble getting the stock in. So we do have some orders sitting out there that are placed, but we're waiting on stock to arrive. So technically that sale's kind of over with. I do have some shirts. If we make it back to a racetrack or something, we'll do stuff like that. But mostly just like a card or whatever. We've been blessed. We're in good shape. We had Steve Sinclair with the IRA, Interstate Racing Association. He offered to take some stock of my shirts for the Knoxville Nationals and sell them up out of their trailer. So that helped out, and we did some stuff around here too. And it's just been, like I said, I've been blessed. People that didn't have to do things did and stepped in, and I'm just, like I said, it just kind of makes you take a step back and realize how great people are.
Yeah. So, for in case people are wondering, we are talking with Paul Nienhiser. Did we get it right this time?
You got it.
Okay. And before we continue on, Hero Haven sent us a little note. That's an organization around here, Paul, where they get a vet or a first responder to hold a flag for the opening ceremonies at Huset's.
Okay.
But anyways, they are still looking for a hero for Friday and Saturday night. So anybody that happens to be listening to the show in the area, reach out to Hero Haven. They're on Facebook, whatever.
Or respond to us, and I'll get you Ned's number. So
if anybody's looking for that, but anyways, I didn't want to interrupt, but I didn't want to forget that as the messages are coming up, and I didn't want that one to disappear on the screen before I forgot to say something.
Yeah, and who are all your sponsors? Do you have them handy at all, or do you have them memorized?
I should be pretty good. I might cheat and look at a picture just to make sure I don't miss anybody. But if you want kind of like a rattle them off type of thing. Is that
absolutely. We love mentioning them because they help you a ton.
Yeah. So like I said, the kind of luck of being in the right place at the right time with Cam2 lubricants. They're actually more of a global oil export company. Underneath the Super S brand that you find like a farm and home store. So they're a global company, which is really, really cool. And then I've actually had some people that have been around, either, maybe their dads have started and the sons carried on the family business. Those would be Bradshaw Custom Pumping, Mason Sound, the Westler Brothers Agency, T&K Tree Service. Like I said, that's actually the people that had the quarter midget that I got, hooked on in the first place. So those people have been around for absolutely ever. And then some stuff more recently, friendships and relationships that have been made. Drop Mobiles, a phone repair and sales kind of franchise. They got a few locations around here. Buffalo Wild Wings, that's familiar to quite a few people. Morrow Brothers Ford, they're a Ford dealership, deals a lot of the state vehicles in Illinois at least. We actually got a car from them here recently for my wife. Signature Sign Company hooks me up with all the graphics and stuff. American Rental Centers in Jacksonville, more like small equipment rental. An ABC Moving Company. Actually kind of did a partnership with our church here in Jacksonville too, 1C Church. They're a pretty neat place that anybody locally knows what I'm talking about, but it's a pretty powerful place. My family and I started going and kind of went into a partnership with them. And then I'm on a 3-year deal, I believe, now with MB Heating and Cooling, and they're a pretty big outfit based out of Springfield, Illinois for heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, actually solar now too. I think that's pretty much everybody on there. There's been people, come and gone over the years that made a huge difference, and I really don't have a list for that. But like I said, Tammy and Laney Oranger up there in Sioux Falls area, they've been big supporters of mine and continue to be. So we've got, I've got a really good bunch. I can say there's just, I probably could count on one hand the number of people that have kind of come on board to partner with the race team and kind of have the same vision as us, and almost nobody leaves. So I've been very blessed when it comes to that.
That's awesome. Well, we don't want to keep you the whole night. I think we'll hit you with our rapid fire, and if there's anything else you want to mention before we let you go, we'll do that. But what's your favorite kind of ice cream?
I'm pretty basic. I'm a sucker for chocolate, so I actually just had myself a large cone on the way home today. We got a little local hole-in-the-wall outfit here, Charlie's, and they got some. I don't know what they do with their blend of ice cream mix, but well, a chocolate ice cream is good enough for me.
There you go.
So we gotta remember to stop it. What'd you say it was, Charlie's?
Yeah, Charlie's Coffee and Cones. It's right off the square in Jacksonville.
Okay.
Look that one up.
I don't know if we'll ever get out there, but I like ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah, same here.
Are you a cat or a dog person?
Well, forever I was kind of a dog person, and then we've had some stray cats come to the farm, and I've really latched on to this one. Her problem is she keeps getting pregnant, so I really don't care for any of the other ones, but this one mother cat's kind of gone from a wild cat that wouldn't even be within 100 feet of you to sitting on my lap purring, and I've got a German Shepherd too, so I'm on kind of both sides of the spectrum when it comes to pets, but I really guess you'd say I don't discriminate.
There you
I
go.
don't really like anything outside of cats and dogs, though. That it stops there for me.
Do you have any hobbies other than racing and farming?
Yeah, so like I said, farming is really more of a full-time thing. We farm over 2,000 acres here, but I kind of have always had a thing for golf, but really more so recently, I like to fish, actually. So it's something I feel, we're kind of in a hotbed for white-tailed deer around here, like Pike County, Scott County. It's kind of, people come from all over the country to come hunt white-tailed deer here, but I really I wouldn't say I've lost interest, but I have more fun fishing than I ever did hunting. And I think part of it is it's just so much less of an investment with your time. Like if it's 4 in the afternoon and I want to go fishing for 30 minutes, I just go throw my pole out. I don't gotta like set the afternoon aside to get all geared up and walk in and be smart about that. And it's a little bit more action typically too. You yank out 10 or 15 bass versus maybe seeing a nice buck once every 3 weeks or whatever you're actually looking to do.
Or you see a nice one every day, but he's 500 yards away and won't come no closer.
And that happens too. So in fact, until recently, you couldn't even hunt with a rifle in Illinois. It was all like shotguns and muzzleloaders. You're talking 150 yards or less is realistic anyway. But you can shoot rifles. Like I said, I've just kind of lost the drive, lost the interest a little bit to hunt. But fishing is fun. I like to golf. With my back being broken, I haven't golfed all year, but it's something I enjoy doing. I actually prefer to golf while I drink beer. That's what my friends and I do. We actually go to drink beer, but we golf while we're doing it. So
There you go. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Golf is always fun.
Oh.
I do my best to make it fun.
Absolutely.
Because I can't rely on my game making it fun. So.
Right. Just laugh at how bad you are.
Yeah. Just gotta shake it off, move to the next hole. How about a favorite movie?
Yeah, I'm pretty, basic on that. I really, for whatever reason, outer space kind of intrigues me, hurts my head to think about. And I watched Interstellar, I don't know how many years ago. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but it is such a freaking weird, like kind of scientifically fictional possibility, I guess I'd call it. It's kind of like getting to the point where we find a new dimension to get off Earth, and I don't work for NASA, I don't know how real it is, but it seems pretty real. That's probably my favorite movie. Types of movies, though, I was always hooked on, like the Fast and Furious forever, so I guess that's probably the basic answer for people.
Interstellar, is that with like Tom Cruise or something?
Tom Hanks, I believe,
Tom
right?
Hanks?
Or, actually, sorry, it's Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's who it is. It's pretty neat. It actually, like, if you watch it once, you really ought to watch it twice. I feel like I understood what was going on better the second time. And I don't like to watch anything more than once, but I keep watching that movie.
Oh, there's certain movies I've watched a lot of times.
Yeah.
Ask my wife.
Do you prefer snow or rain?
Well, being a farmer, rain's always good. I guess, in a past life, pre-kids, I was pretty into, like, snow skiing and stuff out in Colorado. So I can have fun with snow, but around here in Illinois, it usually just makes a mess, and it's cold as shit, and not really any fun anyway.
Uh-oh. We just got a notification here from Regan. She's got the same last name as you got, and we are told that you are lying about your favorite movie. It is now Moana.
Well, you know, she may have caught me a little bit there. There's a couple of these newer Disney princess movies that you can imagine we watch plenty of.
Yeah,
Probably.
and
Moana's probably. I like the first Moana more than the new one.
yeah. I can't argue that with you. I've watched a lot. My daughter has been a Disney freak since she was little. We still have to go to the Disney movies when we come out. Just now we got grandkids to go to them, so it don't look quite as bad as adults sitting there at a kids movie. But
Yeah.
most of them are pretty
I like
good.
actually Cars, but I can't get the girls to get entertained with Cars as much yet.
Cars is one of my favorite movies. I'd put that up there. So,
Let's see. is it
Number
my
6,
turn?
Tom.
Okay, my turn. If you're gonna be stranded on an island, what album or what type of music do you have to have along to listen to?
Man, I tell you what, I'm so fluid when it comes to music. I've probably liked every single kind of genre since I was in high school at different periods of my life, pretty much besides Screamo, and I don't know that many people love that anyway.
Never even heard of it. So.
Yeah, I'm a pretty easy listener. I do, even, you know, admittedly, my wife's a big Taylor Swift fan. It's even grown on me lately. So I can hear just about anything without throwing much of a fit. I'm kind of into, like, more rock right now, but country's obviously always been a staple growing up on a farm and just kind of a rural community.
Yep.
But I've liked all my different types of music, you know, that you would listen to in college and stuff, too, like more of the hip-hop. Even rap, you know, I'm ashamed to admit it at times, but I like everything.
there you go. Do you have a favorite place to go out to eat?
We do. They're usually, I guess my generic answer is Texas Roadhouse. I've never had a bad steak there. Steak's my favorite meal. So we have a couple different restaurants locally that are kind of hidden gems when it comes to just giant ass juicy ribeye. And I'd say if I had one meal left in my life, you could tell me I want a big ass medium rare steak with a baked potato. So
There you go.
one of the easy places we go is Texas Roadhouse.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, you can't go wrong there as long as you don't eat 12 buns before your steak gets there.
Oh, I'll do that too. I still got room.
How about a favorite holiday?
Well, ironically, my birthday, I was actually born at 10:30 at night on Christmas Eve, so Christmas has always been kind of a national holiday for me. So I never had school on my birthday. Like I said, my birthday's actually Christmas Eve, but I was always out of school for a week, and we always got to kind of do something fun, so it just kind of always worked out that way. And I guess Christmas probably is my favorite holiday. You probably could do more on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you got cheated on presents because it was Christmas and your birthday?
I'm glad you said that. A lot of people always used to ask me if I got double the present. It's like, no, dude, you don't understand. Your parents are buying all your presents at once. It's really, instead of like 2.0 presents, you're getting like 1.5. It's
Yep.
that. Because it's all condensed into like 36 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're getting 1 or 2 extras. Is all.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this could be for Christmas and his birthday, whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
This one's a little bit
I think
bigger.
not good.
This one costs a little more. This is going to be for both.
Yeah, exactly.
So, how many speeding tickets have you gotten so far in your lifetime?
I'll be the first to admit, anybody listening here locally, my driving record's not very good. It's not so many speeding tickets. I've had some accidents on the street. So I never claimed to be a very good driver on the street. That's why I always tell everybody. They're like, man, don't you drive race cars? Why are you such a bad driver? It's like, well, I don't know. I never told you I was a good driver. But I probably actually only had maybe, I'll tell you what, I probably had 2 speeding tickets ever, which isn't bad. I mean, I've been driving 12 years.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty good.
So
I've had more accidents than I'd like to admit.
So this question is the one that we really care about. What's the fastest you've ever driven on the highway, or been in the front seat, or in the car with somebody else driving it down the highway?
So one of my dad's really good friends actually has been like a Corvette collector, and I was 8 or 10 years old in the passenger seat with him, and I couldn't even hardly see over the dash. So I really don't know how fast I was going, but I was in like a ZR1 Corvette on a nice 2-lane paved highway, and I just can imagine how fast that car goes. Ironically, you guys are going to laugh at me for this. So I've had lots of different vehicles, Camaro, trucks, you name it. And I had a Chevy Cruze when I went to college in Rolla, Missouri. And for whatever reason, like your pickups you buy today, I think they're all probably still governed about 97s, about as fast as I can ever get one of them to go. My Chevy Cruze going down 44 west of St. Louis, it'd take me 2 miles to get there, but 141. I don't know if they didn't have
No
a
way! In a freaking Cruze?
It was crazy enough. Yeah, it was a turbocharged, like 1.4 liter, and that, I mean, you could get to like 115, 120 pretty quick. but yeah, that last 20 mile an hour, I was like praying I wasn't going to go past the top because I was definitely going to prison. But I hit 141 in a shitty cruise.
There you go. That might be.
Well, it's not our fastest, but it could be the fastest, most unlikely thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know that I know anybody else that's been that fast in a, a little grocery getter like that.
We've had what, 2 now or 3 over 200?
Yeah.
Oh, what were they driving? Like sports cars, obviously.
Well, Sammy Swindell was in a
Boss Hog,
a V8 motorcycle.
Okay.
And Cy Lynch, I think, has our record.
He was in some supercar of some sort, but I can't remember what it was. They were down in Florida.
That's almost cheating.
Yeah.
They were down in Florida.
I had a hard time not driving that fast in one of them too.
They were down in Florida or something, I think.
I don't even remember.
We've done too many of these, Paul. We had to ask each other, have we ever done Paul before? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for having me on. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we got pizza. Okay, what is your favorite drink or go-to beverage?
Alcoholic or non?
Both.
Give us both then, being you brought it up that way.
Yeah, the alcoholic's a little bit tougher to narrow down. I have a few. Non-alcoholic, truthfully, I really just like a sweet tea, like unsweet tea. I put those little pink false sweeteners, probably give you cancer. But that's like my favorite tasting tea.
Okay.
And then when you get to alcoholic, I kind of I remembered how much I liked Arnold Palmer's recently, but I'm actually a sucker for like bourbon on the rocks. That's probably my favorite.
Okay.
Just straight drink, and then you can kind of piggyback off that. I'm a sucker for a good old fashioned. I don't like to make them. I'll only ever order them in a restaurant because they're such a pain in the ass. I'm not going to do it for myself. But if I can pay someone else to do it, I'll have an old fashioned.
Him and Pella Slick.
Yep. Pella Slick.
The guy we stay with at the Nationals. Every night we come back from the Nationals, he's got the kitchen bar open for us, and he's sitting there mixing himself old fashions.
Like you said, it takes him a while.
Yep. I tried it this year. I took a sip of his. It's not bad, and I don't drink much.
Yeah, you make them right. They're pretty dang good, actually. They really are.
If you just won the lottery and you have all the money in the world, is there something you've always dreamed of owning? Car, pickup, boat, anything?
So I'm a farmer and I'm so far in debt, it would be irresponsible to say anything fun like that. It'd be like pay off the operating note.
Well, you just
won. Ever does that.
You just won the Powerball. I mean, what is that? 700 million or something now, ain't it?
Oh yeah, gosh, I could probably find plenty of ways to spend it. I really would probably just buy a place down at a place like the Ozarks and have a giant catamaran or some type of cabin cruiser and just probably have whatever kind of race car we ever wanted to go race to. Sometimes I feel like if you had that much money, racing might seem like a pain in the ass and a lot of work. I don't know. I'd probably retire somewhere pretty quiet and just have a lot of nice stuff. I'd probably some type of yacht and maybe a jet. Get anywhere you want to go.
Yep.
I could spend it.
A jet would be really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh. Well, Paul, I don't know if there's anything else you want to mention before we let you go, but this has been a blast. We had the Eisenschenk twins on before you, and that one went about an hour, and now this one's going about an hour.
56 minutes. So.
Yeah, so.
Well, like I told you guys earlier, I've apparently been blabbing all day. My wife was ready to duct tape my mouth shut, so I've probably been talking plenty.
Well, we really hope everything keeps going great with your back. Hopefully you can start sleeping a little bit better. And, we just truly wish you the best.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, guys. It's been fun chatting. Hopefully, maybe our paths will cross sometime, or you ever make it down to Illinois. Just, you got my number, so look me up.
Will do.
We can try that, certainly. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
All right. See ya.
See you guys.
That's 2 pretty good ones tonight, bud.